You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Monday, July 13th. I'm Maria Lizignoli. Thank you so much for listening and watching Four Things to Know. Our top story today. Months after ICE agents shot and killed Renee Good and Alex Pretti during Operation Metro Surge, Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty says she now has federal evidence collected after the shootings of 3 people during Operation Metro Surge. Here's Esme Murphy's report from noon today.
The Hennepin County Attorney announced this breakthrough just a few minutes ago that the feds and local officials are cooperating when it comes to evidence during several key incidents during Operation Metro Surge, including the killings of Renee Good and Alex Pretti. We're told that the evidence is voluminous and that the BCA is going over it right now. Now, the first incident specifically is the evidence on Renee Good's shooting on January 7th. That shooting happened right on Portland Avenue and was captured by bystander video. The second incident happened in mid-January when a man was shot during an ICE raid, and the final shooting was the killing of Alex Pretti on January 23rd on Nicollet, as Pretti was operating as a citizen observer of ICE operations on a Saturday morning. The county attorney described the evidence that has been shared.
We did get the hard drives from our federal partners. That includes statements, that includes body-worn camera. We got, and the BCA currently has Renee Good's car. That has been analyzed. We are not at the point now to be able to talk about the state of any of the evidence. We are thoroughly looking at it to make sure to actually see what we have and put things together.
The Hennepin County Attorney said this breakthrough began about 2 weeks ago, but she also stressed that there has been ongoing communication all these months between local officials like the BCA and her office, as well as the federal officials who are located here in Minneapolis, and that would be the U.S. Attorney's Office. They said those talks have always been ongoing. There still, however, is a lawsuit in place from Hennepin County, from Mary Moriarty's office, suing the federal government, demanding more evidence. That just shows you how new this is, how this is all sort of coming out right now. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty suggested that that lawsuit could perhaps be dismissed depending on how things go. But right now they are going over that evidence. The evidence is voluminous, and Mary Moriarty says this is exactly what they were hoping for all along.
Number 2, search and rescue teams have recovered the bodies of 3 missing boaters from Lake Pepin. The Pepin County Sheriff in Wisconsin says 6 adults were on a pontoon boat around 10:45 Saturday night when a 911 call came in. First responders found the pontoon flipped upside down. Jason Rantolo was in Wabasha, right outside the fire station, and he has more about who was on that pontoon.
The fire chief here in Wabasha tells me 2 of the victims were members of the fire department here in town. The community is now mourning a huge loss. There's been a rather large outpouring of support across social media for those victims from Wabasha and surrounding areas. On Facebook, the city of Wabasha says they lost 3 exceptional community members. Tragedy struck about a half an hour up the river from here, where authorities say 3 people died after their boat overturned on Lake Pepin Saturday night. The Pepin County Sheriff told us their pontoon overturned when it collided with a barge. After a large search and rescue effort, authorities told us last night the bodies of the 3 missing people had been recovered. Now, as the community reels just down the street from here, St. Felix Catholic Church is inviting neighbors to come to a prayer service. That's tonight at 7.
Number 3, wildfires in northern Minnesota have led to the closure of the entire Boundary Waters Canoe area wilderness. That closure order was issued just this morning, effective starting at midnight for all BWCAW entry points. Workers are using bulldozers to clear lines to try to contain these fires. As of 7:30 last night, officials reported 20 fires actively burning in the Superior National Forest. The BWCA closure was made to protect the health and safety of visitors. Reservations made through this Friday are now canceled. St. Louis County officials have also implemented the Ready, Set, Go notification system should residents living up there need to evacuate. As the fight against the Northland wildfires continues, Governor Tim Walz declared a peacetime emergency. In a statement, he says this emergency declaration allows for the mobilization of additional resources necessary to protect lives, prevent damage, and help the Minnesota DNR and our local communities respond. And number 4 today, we are in a next weather alert now through Thursday because of extreme heat. A good reminder for this hot week, these extreme summer temperatures can take a toll on your health. First, they can make you physically sick. If you have muscle cramps, shortness of breath, dizziness, or nausea, it could be a sign that you're overheating. But experts say the heat impacts more than your physical health. Psychologists with Cleveland Clinic say it can also harm your mental health. The summer temps can make a person feel stressed, irritable, sad, depressed, and anxious. To stop heat from taking a toll on your mental health, Cleveland Clinic psychologist Susan Albers says, first, recognize what's happening and do your best to stay cool.
Heat mimics anxiety. Symptoms such as sweating, racing heart, dizziness. These are common to being overheated and anxious, and your brain can mistake the two.
The CDC says young children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing mental health conditions are more vulnerable to the effects of heat. One way you can stay hydrated is by eating water-rich foods like frozen grapes, popsicles, or cucumbers. Experts also say make sure you're getting quality sleep during these hot summer nights. Those are the 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our forecast.
Hi, I'm Next Weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. We do have a next weather alert in place as we go through Thursday for extreme heat. Heat indices approaching 100 the next few days. Temps tonight down to the mid-70s. Tomorrow, air temp back up to 95.
And now, here's more to know.
Eagan police have now identified a driver and a vehicle involved in a road rage shooting on a busy metro interstate. Investigators say someone fired several rounds into another vehicle on I-35E in Eagan Saturday. The only thing we know about the driver right now, a white man with long, dark hair. He drove a white Ford F-150 that has rust around the driver's side rear wheel well. No one was injured. Traffic did stop as there was a large police response. A witness, Micah Zawitzowski from Blaine, described the scene.
And each cop had their guns drawn, and the one cop car that was the closest to the white truck had a shield on him. There are ways to reduce that anger, but the fact that you're taking a gun out and you expect you'll get away with it in a heavy 35E traffic, it's right now worth someone's life.
Anyone with information about the vehicle or the driver is asked to contact Eagan Police. Minneapolis police are still searching for suspects after a truck and attached food trailer were stolen with people still inside. MPD says it happened in the Powderhorn neighborhood just before 9 Saturday night. They say 3 people were in the food trailer when 2 suspects got into the truck and took off. People who knew those inside the trailer followed the truck until they all crashed in the Standish neighborhood. The trailer detached from the truck and the suspects took off in the stolen vehicle. 2 adults jumped from the trailer and they were treated for injuries. The 3rd person, who stayed inside, was not hurt. MPD later found the truck, but not the suspects. Flock cameras are used to scan license plate information, but a recent mistake from one led to a Twin Cities automotive journalist to be stopped by police. Joel Fetter, who writes for TheDrive.com, said that he was trying out a Range Rover for work when police surrounded him in a parking lot in Plymouth last month. Officers said flock cameras had flagged the license plate as stolen.
Looked in the rearview mirror and I saw 2 cop cars coming at the right side with the lights lit and sirens going. I'm like, what the heck? And then I looked to my left through the glass. There's 2 more cop cars doing the same. So now we're boxed and pinned, which is exactly what the police report said. And I looked at my wife, and I'm not kidding. I was like, I wasn't even speeding. Like, I did nothing wrong.
In a statement to WCCO, the Plymouth police chief said officers ultimately discovered that when the license plate was reported as stolen in California on June 24th of 2026, it was improperly entered in the National Crime Information Center database with incomplete numbers. A spokesperson for Flock said they take incidents like this seriously and are looking closely at what happened, adding situations like this are rare. That said, an alert should be one part of an investigation, not the whole basis for a stop. Fetter says the officers told him to park the car and stop driving it around the metro area until this mistake gets sorted out. They said he could get pulled over by a different police department in a different city who also believed the license plate was stolen. Today, flags across the country are at half-staff in honor of longtime South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Graham died suddenly on Saturday, according to his office. He was 71 years old. The medical examiner in Washington, D.C. confirmed that his cause of death was aortic dissection. The senator had just been in Ukraine on Friday. Bipartisan tributes continue to come in his memory. Minnesota Republican and GOP Majority Whip Tom Emmer took to social media to share his condolences. He says Graham was, quote, a strong defender of our conservative values and cared deeply about the strength, safety, and security of the United States. He will be missed. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar said it was a shock to learn her friend Lindsey Graham had died. She had worked with Graham over the years on many issues. In a statement, she said, quote, he was a man who loved his work, his country, and his family. It is fitting that he died shortly after visiting Ukraine, one of those causes he would stand up for through thick and thin. Happening today, Minnesota's Attorney General is looking for community feedback on a major healthcare merger. AG Keith Ellison is hosting a forum tonight in St. Paul from 6 to 8 p.m. The forum's a chance for the public to weigh in on the proposed deal between Allina Health and Sutter Health. Sutter would acquire Allina under the current proposal. The AG, in consultation with the Department of Health, evaluates healthcare transaction. He does not approve or deny transactions, but can bring about a lawsuit to block a deal. Those wishing to attend or speak can RSVP online. Now to some sports headlines. LaMelo Ball touched down in Minnesota yesterday, and he's already getting right to work on the court. Ball replaced Timberwolves fan favorite Naz Reid in a trade with the Charlotte Hornets last month. As part of the deal, the Wolves also acquired guard Josh Green, along with some prime draft picks in upcoming seasons. The Timberwolves will hold a press conference to introduce the players tomorrow at Target Center. The Final Four teams are set, and we are just 3 games away from the next World Cup champion being crowned. The Cinderella story for Norway came to an end over the weekend. It's some familiar faces back in the semifinals. Tomorrow, France will take on Spain in Dallas. That match is set for 2 p.m. Central Time. Then on Wednesday, England will take on reigning champs Argentina in Atlanta. Of course, many eyes in this match on Lionel Messi as he plays what could be his final World Cup. The 39-year-old has made no official announcements yet, but it's definitely something to watch for sure.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
A Minnesota Viking spent this weekend giving back to the community.
1, 2, 3.
Vikings safety Josh Metellus led the 3rd annual Metellus Family Foundation football camp on Saturday. Kids visited TCO Stadium in Eagan for football, games, and food. Metellus says he hopes the event builds kids' confidence and inspires the next generation of athletes.
Oh, smiles, man. The kids' smiles is what we do it for. You know, if every one of these kids get one smile while they're here, then I won. And you know, the main goal is to have all these kids here having fun, tire them out so their parents can get a little bit of rest when they get home. But for the most part, you know, we're just here to bring up spirits.
Metellus adds his favorite part of the event is seeing how many families get involved. Thank you so much for joining us here on 4 Things to Know. I'm Maria Lizignoli, and I'm here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.